Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is MX Sports and the Football Video, and today I'm going over my All-Pro team for the 2021-2022 NFL season. I created a 22-player All-Pro team with offense and defense, as well as the 6 special teamers that they usually include: the kicker, the punter, kicker turner, punter turner, special teamer, and long snapper. And so I have my 28-person roster, which is usually what the NFL does. And so in this video, I'm going to be going over each position. And yeah, let's get into it. So first off, we have the offense. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. For the offensive line, I had absolutely no idea what to do. So I used offensive line, there's not really stats you can go off of. You don't really hear a lot about them. They're a very underrepresented part of football, and so I apologize to all offensive linemen because I honestly don't know a whole lot about offensive linemen. So I ended up going with Quenton Nelson because he has been one of the best offensive linemen over the past few years. So I put him at guard. I have Jason Kelce as the center. He's been having a very strong season this year. Zach Martin, coming off of an injury last year, is having a full season this year and having a very strong season. I also have Zach Martin's teammate, Tyron Smith, at tackle. And I have Trent Williams of the San Francisco 49ers as the other tackle. Trent Williams, as I've heard, has been the best offensive tackle in the league this year. And then Zach Martin, Quenton Nelson, and Jason Kelce are all amazing perennial Pro Bowlers. And Tyron Smith has had a great season as well. Now, the other positions that I know a little bit more about. Wide receiver, I have Deebo Samuel and Davante Adams as my 2 and 3 spots, and I have Cooper Kupp as my number 1. Cooper Kupp obviously is the number 1 wide receiver this year. He is the starter on my All-Pro team. He had 1,947 yards and I believe 18 touchdowns, 17 touchdowns. He's had an insane season. Davante Adams has had a pretty strong year as well. Definitely the number 2 wide receiver in the league. He has had not quite as good as last year, but touchdowns-wise, but he had his most yards in a season ever. Only played 16 games. He didn't play the full 17. He had 1,553 yards and 11 touchdowns. Last year, he only played 14 games, so he did have more yards a game last year, but this year he had more yards because he played a full 16 games, and he has 11 touchdowns on there. Deebo Samuel, a lot of people might say that Justin Jefferson deserves it or that Jamar Chase deserves it. Deebo Samuel has had a phenomenal season. He hasn't had an All-Pro yet in his career, and although if you look at his specific receiving stats, he doesn't look like he would be a All-Pro selection because his receiving yards and touchdowns aren't as high as some of the other receivers, but he has a lot of rushing yards, and his yards per attempt on the ground is 6.2. He is a threat in the rushing and passing game, and not a lot of wide receivers can do that. He has 8 rushing touchdowns this season. He has 59 carries for 365 yards and 8 touchdowns, on top of his 1,400 receiving yards, leading the league in yards per reception, might I add, at 18.2. And his yards per touch is 13. And half of his touches are rushing. It's crazy what he's doing this year. So he is my wide receiver 3, mainly because Davante Adams' receiving stats specifically are better. But Deebo Samuel has 220 more yards and 3 more touchdowns. He has 1,770 yards and 14 total touchdowns. So Deebo Samuel definitely deserves an All-Pro selection this season. My number 1 tight end on my All-Pro team is Mark Andrews. I know a lot of people are going to say that Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league, so he should get it. But Mark Andrews has had a phenomenal season. He has over 100 receptions as a tight end. That's insane. 107 receptions, 1,361 yards, and 9 touchdowns. To put that in perspective, to Travis Kelce last season, when people were saying that he was breaking records, Travis Kelce did have a better season last year than Mark Andrews this year. Granted, he had 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns, which is an impressive season. But Mark Andrews has been the best tight end this year. He's caught 70% of his passes, 12.6 yards per touch. He's had a great season, and he's definitely, in my opinion, the best tight end in the league for this year. Quarterback, I have Tom Brady, and running back, I have Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, there's no question. Just much like Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor's just lit it up this year. Derrick Henry would probably be the All-Pro selection had he played the rest of the season. I still believe Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league, but you gotta stay healthy. You really gotta stay healthy, and availability is the best ability, and Jonathan Taylor was available this season, and Derrick Henry was not. And I have Tom Brady at quarterback. A lot of people are going to be very upset about this. As for Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, who deserves the MVP, I don't really have much of an opinion on the matter. They're both 13. Both of their teams are 13-4. Both of them have had phenomenal seasons. Tom Brady has over 5,300 yards and 43 touchdowns, to Aaron Rodgers 4,200 yards and 37 touchdowns. And even if you argue that because of his touchdown to interception ratio and his ability to not turn the ball over and Tom Brady's offensive line, or that Aaron Rodgers is the most valuable player, then I can get with that. And I think that although Cooper Kupp has in my opinion, deserves the most valuable player award this year, I think that Aaron Rodgers has a very strong argument over Tom Brady. But if you're looking at quarterback statistics, not the team around them, not who is the most valuable, not who is whatever, Tom Brady deserves to be the All-Pro quarterback this season. He's limited his interceptions, even though his team leads the league in drops, and a lot of those drops turn into turnovers. Some of his turnovers are halftime air balls, just because Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay offense likes to go for those aggressive plays close to the half that are like Hail Marys, but you don't really need them, and they're just kind of like don't really do much for the game and turn into interceptions. There's a few things like that lead to turnovers that don't really even impact the game. I think overall Tom Brady is the best quarterback this season. On defense, we have Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, Cameron Hayward, and Joey Bosa. Nick Bosa, my apologies, on the defensive line. The defensive tackles were easy. Aaron Donald is always a force to be reckoned with, and Cam Hayward has had an exceptionally good season. Defensive ends, Myles Garrett is the easy answer for this one. He is the leader for defensive ends for sacks. He's been one of the best defensive ends in the league for a few years now. The second selection was a little bit more difficult, and I went with Nick Bosa. He has 15.5 sacks, so almost as many as Myles Garrett's, I believe, 16. And he has 4 forced fumbles, and he leads the league in tackles for a loss at 21. Nick Bosa has been phenomenal since he's entered the league, but last year he only played 2 games, so we really only saw him in 2019 when he made his first Pro Bowl appearance. This year, he had 32 quarterback hits, 21 tackles for a loss, 50 total tackles. He's been phenomenal this year, and I think that he deserves an All-Pro selection, especially after being injured last year, and this being really his second year in the league. At linebacker, we have TJ Watt, obviously tying the single-season sack record since 1982. We have Micah Parsons at middle linebacker. Yes, I have Michael Parsons instead of Bobby Wagner. And Matthew Judon. A lot of people might say that this is a biased pick, and I will agree that this is my only biased pick on this list. I think that I didn't really know who to put there because there's a lot of really good answers for the other outside linebacker. I think that between Micah Parsons and Bobby Wagner was a tough decision because obviously Bobby Wagner leads the league every year in tackles, and he's always an All-Pro selection. But Micah Parsons came into the league this year, and as an inside linebacker, he got 13 sacks. He's had a really impressive season overall, and I just had to put him in there. And Matthew Judon, I know that a lot of people are going to say this is biased, and I agree, but he's had a fantastic year for the Patriots. He has been one of our leading. He came in to a new system, and he was one of the team leaders on defense for sure. He definitely inspired a lot of great play by our defensive players, and he's definitely all-pro selection for the season, in my opinion. Quarterbacks, J.C. Jackson, Trevon Diggs. I think that's the easiest pick of any of these for the entirety of the thing. It's like okay, easiest is Cooper Kupp, second easiest is Jonathan Taylor, third easiest J.C. Jackson and Trevon Diggs. Trevon Diggs has 11 interceptions, 2 defensive touchdowns, over 20 passes defended. J.C. Jackson leads the league in passes defended with also 8 interceptions on top of that, and a 46 passer rating when targeted. Safeties, although Trevon Diggs' coverage stats aren't fantastic, still an all-pro selection. Safeties, I have Kevin Byard, easily the best safety in the league. I don't think a lot of people will question that. And I have Jordan Poyer. He didn't make the Pro Bowl this season, and I was shocked to see that he didn't make the Pro Bowl this season. He's always an amazing player, and I think that he gets a lot of recognition, but he doesn't get all of the accolades that some of these other guys get. He didn't make the Pro Bowl in any year of his career yet, and he's been really good for a long time. And I think that this year he definitely deserves some more recognition. He has a 42.2 passer rating when targeted this year. He has 5 interceptions and only 1 touchdown allowed. J.C. Jackson hasn't even been that good. He has 8 interceptions, I think 2 or 3 touchdowns allowed, and like 46 passer rating against. Jordan Poyer has been locked down at safety this year. He has 93 tackles, 3 sacks, 9 passes defended, 5 interceptions. Definitely an all-pro selection for this season, and it's too bad that he hasn't gotten as much recognition for the insane career he's had. All-pro and all-pro special teamers, we have Justin Tucker. Obviously, he broke the record for longest field goal in NFL history, as well as obviously his regular, very high field goal percentage this season. Brett Anger, I have as the punter. He was the Pro Bowl selection for this season. He's averaged almost 50 yards per punt. He's had a phenomenal year. And then my kick returner is Cordell Patterson. And a lot of people might say that Cordell Patterson does not deserve to be in the All-Pro team for returning because he hasn't had his best season. He hasn't had as many returns as the player that won the NFL Pro Bowl selection. But I still think that he deserves some recognition for what he's done this year. I mean, I know that he hasn't had his best season of his career, but he's had a fantastic season. He really has. And he's usually been a kick returner, but this year he not only was a kick returner, but he was a running back and a wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. He carried their offense this year on his back. He didn't get the running back Pro Bowl selection. I think he definitely deserved a Pro Bowl selection at running back. He didn't even get that. And so I think the no recognition for what he's done for his team this year is astonishingly bad. And even if he doesn't deserve it, I still wanted to put him on this list. And Devin Duvernay has been the best punt returner in the league. He's averaging the most. He's had the most, not the most returns, but he's had quite a few returns on top of it. I believe he leads the league in return yards. He's had a fantastic season. He definitely deserves to be the All-Pro selection for punt returner. And my long snapper is Josh Harris of the Atlanta Falcons. There were 2 long snappers selected to the Pro Bowl. I just picked the one that played 17 games. I don't know anything about long snappers, I apologize, but there were 2 long snappers. One of them played 17 games, one of them played 16 games, so I picked the Pro Bowler that played 17 games. Not really much else to be said about that. And my special teamer, I picked Matthew Slater. I don't really know any other gunners in the league. I don't know any other special team specialists in the NFL. So I picked Matthew Slater. He got the Pro Bowl selection this year. He's been one of the best at what he does for his entirety of his career, for the most of his career. He's been a fantastic player and leader for the Patriots, and he's gotten quite a few Pro Bowl selections and All-Pro selections in his time, and I think that he definitely deserves one for what he does for the Patriots this season. So that is my 2021 to 2022 NFL All-Pro team. If you guys have any disagreements, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. If you guys think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback this year, then I would love to hear your reasons why. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.